Welcome to Voice of Africa, where truth meets the heartbeat of the continent, where every story is told with dignity, courage, and the voices of our people at the center. Today, we take you to Mali, where the armed forces are not only fighting to secure the nation, but are carrying out humanitarian missions that restore hope, dignity, and unity among displaced families longing to return home.
Across the eastern theater of Operation Dougokoloko, Malian soldiers are undergoing missions that extend beyond military objectives. Their work is not only measured by strategic victories on the battlefield, but also by the lives they touch in vulnerable communities. In the district of Tit, where insecurity forced families to abandon their homes, the military organized a major operation that provided food, healthcare, and direct assistance to those most affected. Over 200 displaced families received food supplies, medicine, and free medical consultations, marking a significant step toward restoring normalcy for communities scattered by conflict. Military officials emphasize that their duty is not only to fight and hold strategic positions, but to act as a lifeline for civilians caught between war and survival. They stated that securing the region includes rebuilding relationships between the army and local residents, which over time strengthens national unity and trust in the defense forces. According to the officers present, their mission was planned not simply to distribute aid, but to pave the way for displaced civilians to eventually return to their homes safely and with confidence that stability is gradually returning. For families in Tit, this gesture carried immense emotional weight. Many had spent months moving from village to village, relying on limited resources, unsure whether help would ever reach them. The arrival of the military brought relief and reassurance. Community members expressed deep appreciation, noting that the Army did not wait for international organizations or NGOs to act. They intervened directly, showing immediate solidarity. Several residents stated that this is not an isolated effort, but part of a pattern where the Army continues to show up in times of crisis. They described the armed forces as protectors who have consistently come to their aid, even in circumstances more difficult than the present moment. One resident voiced a sentiment shared by many. Confidence in the Army has grown stronger because of these actions. They explained that unity between the population and the armed forces is essential if Mali is to overcome its security challenges. For them, the support is not simply about receiving food or medicine, but about feeling valued, defended, and remembered as citizens deserving protection. Their emotional testimonies highlighted how humanitarian missions restore dignity as much as they restore basic needs. Beyond distribution efforts, the success of the operation also relied on coordinated planning and logistics. Over a 48-hour period, military units executed supply deliveries to forward security bases while simultaneously carrying out humanitarian outreach. Commanders congratulated the troops for their discipline and precision, noting that a well-prepared mission always results in a successful outcome. To them, responding to civilian needs is part of a broader national duty, not a temporary initiative driven by circumstance. But the mission in Tit is just one part of a larger effort. From Gao to Nord du Sahel, similar actions have been launched to bridge the gap between military forces and citizens. In Nord du Sahel, soldiers from the 42nd Reconnaissance and Investigation Regiment responded to an urgent water shortage affecting entire neighborhoods. At a time when heat and climate conditions made access to clean water extremely difficult, the Army mobilized tankers to distribute water across the zone. Families gathered with containers and drums, cheering as trucks arrived. Children danced, women blessed the soldiers, and community leaders expressed profound gratitude. Military officers explained that assisting the population in times of hardship is part of their identity as national protectors. They emphasized that an Army's mission is not limited to combat operations. Service includes responding to humanitarian crises as well. By delivering water, they sought to demonstrate that the Army is present not only to confront enemies, but to stand beside citizens during daily struggles. For them, these moments reinforce a bond of trust that no weapon can create on its own. It is an acknowledgement that the Army protects lives, not just borders. This philosophy continues in Agoro, where troops under the leadership of Lieutenant Colonel Isaka Kumare maintain constant vigilance. Their role involves securing the city, controlling key routes, and ensuring that armed groups cannot destabilize the area. Yet their mission remains multidimensional. They provide support when essential services collapse, when communities face shortages, and when families struggle in silence. To these soldiers, serving Mali means serving everywhere, at all times, under all circumstances, whether during battle or in moments of relief. Across Mali, this renewed approach to national defense is redefining how citizens perceive the military. The armed forces are composed of ordinary men and women from the same villages they protect. They are farmers' children, students, parents, and youth who chose to serve their nation. This shared identity reinforces a powerful idea. The army is not an institution separate from society. It is an extension of the people themselves. When soldiers bring water, distribute medical aid, or help families resettle, they are uplifting their own communities. The long-term goal behind these civil-military initiatives is more profound than immediate relief. The government and military leadership aim to create conditions that allow displaced populations to return to their homes permanently. Returning home means reclaiming farmland, reopening schools, reviving markets, and reconnecting communities fractured by conflict. It is about rebuilding a country from the ground up with unity and patriotism at the core. The soldiers see this as essential to rebuilding a peaceful Mali, one where security, social support, and civic responsibility move hand in hand.
In this greater effort, peace is not defined solely by the absence of conflict, but by the presence of stability, trust, and a functioning society. The work being done in Tit, Sahel, and Agoro illustrates that Mali's path to peace is built through service driven by commitment, not external intervention. Each operation, each delivery, each moment spent listening to civilians brings the nation one step closer to a future where displaced families no longer run, but return. This is the story of a nation rebuilding itself through courage, sacrifice, and unity. This is the story of Mali rising. This is Voice of Africa. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay united, and continue supporting those who stand for peace and national dignity. More stories from across the continent are on the way. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share so Africa's voice is heard around the world.